And your fire is great. You've had 2 years.
Comes a but.
No, there is a but. What have you guys, your freshman class in Congress, what have you guys done? That you feel, I'm not asking that as a criticism, what do you feel you've accomplished?
It's a great question.
Against the Great Wall that exists. What, have you made a chink in it? What have you guys done?
I'm going to give you a great answer that you may not like. We've stopped this president, and we've helped wake up the country. Let me explain what I mean. Obama didn't start this, but the country woke up right before Obama got elected. And then Obama gets elected, and the government starts to grow. We start to get these trillion-dollar deficits. Here comes Obamacare. Government's doing things government never used to do. And the American people went like this in 2010, and they sent guys like me to Washington and said, wait, this just doesn't seem right. Stop. Just stop what's going on right now. So we felt our job this first 2 years was to just stop the direction the president was going. Just stop him. We don't control Washington. The Republicans only control the House. So we knew there's not a lot we can do because Republicans and Democrats have big differences. So our job the first 2 years was just put the brakes on. And we did that. The second thing we did was we educated and woke up the American people. And I'll give you one example. This country has raised the debt ceiling how many times in the last 20 years? Raise your hands. How many people 8 years ago really knew what the debt ceiling was? 6 years ago, 14 years ago. The entire country did not know what the debt ceiling was. But because these troublesome House Republicans finally put their foot down and said, you know what? The days of raising the debt ceiling and borrowing money are over unless we do certain things. And now the entire country knows what the debt ceiling is. I think that's a great thing. This is really hard because I'm not going to be there that long, but this battle to straighten out this country is going to take 20 to 30 years. It took us 100 to get into this mess. So you got to kind of take a longer view. The battle just started. In these first 2 years, it was just stop Obama and then see what the American people decide in November. Here's the beauty. This election, they may get rid of us. They may give the keys to Washington back to the Democrats. Or they may give the keys to Washington to the Republicans. And then the Republicans better deliver, simplify the tax code, start drilling for oil, repeal Obamacare, and do something about entitlements. First step in the revolution. I wish I had a better answer. I wish I could say we passed this, we passed that, we passed...
I know that. I keep track of what goes on. I know not much was accomplished. I'm just wondering, in your mind, what you felt, you know, was done.
If I lose in November, I will know that I was part of a 2 years that stopped this president and helped educate and wake up the American people wherever that takes us. Because I don't care if Romney wins, no matter who your president is next time around, say Romney wins, and Romney comes before Congress next August and says, need more money, gotta raise the debt ceiling, need to borrow more money. A Republican Congress will tell a Republican president, time out, Mr. Romney, not gonna happen unless we do boom, 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 boom. The first bill I introduced in Congress last March was a balanced budget amendment to our Constitution. And it passed out of the House as part of a program with 242 votes. That's what I want to keep pushing. It's idiotic that Washington is allowed to spend more money every year than what they take in.
I got a question over there.
Yes, young man.
What are you going to do for veterans?
What a setup question.
No, actually,
Here's my question. I want to bring everybody home from Afghanistan tomorrow. I want to make it easier when they come home to find work.
how are you going to do that?
Huh?
How are you going to do
How am I going to bring them home?
No. What are you going to do for veterans? Not bringing troops home.
Let me.
The veterans that are home now.
Can I finish the answer?
Yes.
Good. I'd like to finish the answer.
Okay.
I want to bring more home. When they're home, I want to make it easier for them to work. Right now, there are so many veterans. The unemployment rate for veterans here right now is a lot higher than the general population. One of the reasons is because all the experience that they've gained in the military, in fields like emergency, in fields like any sort of mechanics, we don't count that experience toward the certifications that they need to do to get work. I think we need to count that. I introduced an amendment to the latest defense bill that said we ought to count that experience toward whatever certificates they earn to get work. So I want to make it easier for them to work. I also want to make sure they keep their health care. This president is trying to take TRICARE away from them.
Can I ask you something? What would you like to see done for the veterans?
No,
I think that,
give me a specific answer.
I think the bond, I don't know if you know about the programs that they use for filing benefits online, the VA. It's called the Bond App program, and it needs to be abolished. It's completely stacked against the veterans, and buttons get bigger, some get smaller. It gives you a time limit to fill out your claim, and if you don't fill it out in a certain amount of time, you have to restart it. And I don't know, it's ultimately takes away from what we sacrifice for.
Here's
It's a disgrace.
I know. I think maybe you and I will agree with my following general statement. You judge a country, I think, by how well we take care of those who serve it. And I think right now, generally, we do a pretty crappy job of taking care of the men and women who served us. When it comes to work, health care, their claims, you name it. That's one area where we need to spend the resources to make sure that things are better.
How would you expedite getting claims?
You know, I don't know. It's a complicated process. They're underfunded and they're under-resourced. So your government needs to make a commitment to spend more money in this area to make sure that the resources are there. It's a matter of manpower and money, and your government hasn't made that commitment. So A, make the commitment, and it's a financial commitment, then make sure it's done right. Sounds pretty basic.
What's going to happen to the veterans who are going to be laid off when they come to North?
Wait a second. Can I just say something in that I'm a 100% disabled veteran, okay? I'm a combat vet from Vietnam. I make nothing about it, but I've dealt with the Veterans Administration for a long time. Do you not support the Ryan budget?
Yes.
You do. That reduces VA funding by 13%.
You know what?
So how can you tell him
Here's what.
that you want to help him when you're willing to cut the VA when they're inundated right now? I've dealt with the Veterans Administration for 42 years, having been injured.
I question your number, and it reduces. If it reduces the VA, it reduces it less than what the president's
What I've read in the
and I
New
don't.
Times, his budget increases it by 4%.
Not at all. Not
Ryan
at all,
increases it
not
by
at all.
13%.
Give me your,
I could be wrong.
Give me your info before you leave, and I'll give you.
Yeah, I would just like to clarify that, and you would be a person I think who
Absolutely.
could.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, look, defense, like everything else government does, there's waste. We can do things a lot more efficiently. We need a strong defense. But there are certainly major cuts that can be made in defense. We have bases around the world, maybe in places where we don't need bases. It's a much more complicated fight that we're engaged in right now. Yeah, we need a strong defense, but defense, like everything else, there's room to make cuts. Any final thoughts, issues, questions?
Defense is taking a disproportionate cut in the budget compared to what they contribute to the overall economy. I think it's 12%, defense represents 12% of the budget. I don't know. They're taking far greater cuts.
Especially when it comes to sequestration. Yeah, I agree.
So we really need 13 aircraft carriers.
Again, there are
13 billion apiece.
there are
Would that stop them from burning our flag, I wonder? More aircraft carriers? Is that going to stop them burning our flag?
No, but you're with me in that we need a strong defense. Always. It's one of
Absolutely.
It's one of the basics of what we do.
It's the price of freedom.
It's the price of freedom, and we are at war. We are at war. It's a different kind of
It's not
war.
the kind of war where you need billion-dollar aircraft.
It's a different kind of war, and we need to fight it smartly.
We're cutting the Navy back to pre-World War I.
Thank you, everybody. Hey, get Catherine or get Mary Lou.